If you are in high school, that is grades 9, 10, 11 and 12, and you are planning to apply to colleges abroad for your undergraduate education, then this video is going to be supremely useful for you. Today, I am going to cover how you should build your profile, what admissions committees care for in an application, and the entire application process to universities in America. So stay tuned. Now let me start off right at the basics. Entrances in America work very differently to entrances in India. In India, you will find that it's largely based on one competitive exam or entrance test, and the amount you score on that exam will decide which college you make it to. Colleges in America, on the other hand, take applications, and these applications are holistically evaluated. What I mean by that is your admission decision is going to be dependent on a combination of your academic grades, on your SAT or ACT score, on your co-curricular activities, which may be activities that are relevant to what you want to study in college, your extracurricular and leadership like your sports or your clubs or your music or any extracurricular activities, and your diversity and volunteering experience. Now I'm going to deep dive into each one of these and how important it is for admissions committees in America. Now I'm going to divide the importance of your profile into 5 elements, and I'm also going to talk about how an admissions committee member is going to perceive these things. So here goes. If you are applying to colleges in America, the most important thing in your profile is going to be your grades. So that is number 1. Now keep in mind that you will not have your 12th grade marks at the time of application to American universities. To understand why, you need to understand the application timeline. Now if you have to start college, say in September of 2024, you will have to submit your applications latest by November, December of 2023. That means if you started 12th grade in 2023 June or July, then you will be applying by November of the same year. So therefore, you will only have your final marks of grade 11 and maybe grades of 1 midterm and grade 12, which you will have to submit to the universities. Now, most schools in India will give you a predicted grade based on your performance in your grade 11 and in your 12th midterms. That is the grade that universities in the US will consider while factoring your admission. Therefore, grades in grade 11 finals and your 12th midterms are incredibly crucial. This is the most important part of your application. The reason being, college is an academic atmosphere. Therefore, universities are interested how you do academically at your previous academic institution, which is your school. So please focus on your grades, especially grade 11 finals and maybe your 12th midterms. Now, though I said that Indian universities are largely entrance test based and US universities are not, well, US universities also have one entrance test or barrier to entry. Now, there are 2 competitive tests that you can give in order to secure a US university admission. One is the SAT and the other is the ACT. Now I will delve deeply into the difference between the 2 in the later video, but for now just assume that you have to give one of these. Now the SAT is a verbal and quantitative aptitude based test. It has nothing to do with your core subjects in maybe 11 and 12 and may not have anything to do with what you want to be studying in college. Whether you're applying for a biology major, a mechanical engineering or an English literature, all students have to give the general SAT, which will test their quantitative and verbal aptitude. The SAT scores are important because it is the only constant parameter among candidates who will be applying from all over the world to US universities. Therefore, it is the one level playing field where your aptitude is measured. The SAT is a hard number. There is no interpretation, there is no negotiation. Therefore, it becomes a very critical part of your application. However, that being said, it does not mean that somebody who has a 1550 will have a significant advantage over somebody who has a 1520 on the SAT. Marginal calls are okay. That is when the rest of your profile, like your grades and your co-curriculars, which I'll be covering eventually, come through. However, the SAT is used as a strong filtering parameter by a lot of colleges at this point to figure out with what level of interest they'll want to read your application. If you are applying to some top schools, then your SAT score will have to be around the median range for the entire applicant pool. If you're sort of close and slightly lower, maybe the rest of your profile will carry you through. But if you're way off, it's going to be difficult to convince the admissions committee of this shortcoming. Now let me cover the SAT score ranges that you typically need. If you are targeting a top 10 university for your program, then you will need a 1510, 1520 plus. Added to this, that median score for Indian candidates is usually higher, and this is an internal metric for universities because they want to maintain diversity and the competition among Indian students trying to enter that class is higher. Similarly, if you want to target a university in the top 20 or top 25, maybe even a 1450 plus would work. However, if you're way off these ranges, it can become a little difficult. Now, as a bonus, we are also doing an interactive webinar on the 20th of July at 7 p.m. where we will be covering all of these topics and where you can ask us all your questions about your college applications and essays one-on-one. Registration is absolutely free, so I don't see why you would want to miss this. Now you can use the link in description to sign up. Alright, now that we've covered the two hard numbers, which are your grades in 11 and maybe 12th midterm and your SATs, now we need to move on to the soft factors. And the most important soft factor or non-quantitative factor in your profile is your co-curricular activities. Now, please don't confuse co-curricular activities with extracurricular activities. These can be very, very different, and co-curricular are often more important. Co-curricular activities are the activities, projects, internships or research you've taken up outside the realms of your school or outside your general curriculum in school in order to work towards the major you wish to apply to. So maybe you are applying to a computer science major and you and your friends took up a project to develop an app that helps differently abled people, or maybe you created a carpooling app, or you started building ML and AI algorithms that detect certain anomalies in X-rays, right? Again, don't be intimidated by these examples. These are just general examples that indicate co-curricular activities. Co-curricular activities and taking up internships, projects or research that is relevant to the major you apply to shows admissions committees what is known as demonstrated interest. Demonstrated interest is a huge part of the application process for admissions committees because this shows your motivation, dedication and focus towards the degree you wish to study in college, and the admissions committees will begin to believe that if you've done a lot of good work in that area already with the limited resources you have, you will use the resources on offer at college to do wonders truly in future. Therefore, your co-curricular activities and demonstrated interest towards your intended major is important. Now, there are a ton of examples that can be used as demonstrated interest or co-curricular activities. What works best for you specifically can be discussed. You can schedule that free consultation with us using the link in the description. Again, it's a free consultation with the very best in the business, so don't miss out. Let's move on very quickly now to element number 4, which is extracurricular activities. Now, elements 1, 2 and 3 show the admissions committee that there is a strong academic profile and an academic mind coming into the college. Element number 4 and 5 talk about what kind of a personality is coming to college, and the personality is very, very important for admissions committees as well. Extracurricular activities are activities that have little or nothing to do with your intended choice of major in college. So therefore, if you're applying to a computer science or a biotechnology or an economics major, if you excelled in cricket or you've done Bharatnatyam or you play the flute, these are also powerful factors to put forth in front of the admissions committee. In fact, during your attempt of the Common App essay, you will find that the Common App essay prompts, which I will cover in later videos, largely cater to activities that have nothing to do with your studies or your intended major. These have more to do with how you spent your time in enhancing your own personality and how you furthered certain talents. If you pursued extracurricular activities like music or sport very, very seriously, this shows admissions committee that as a personality, you have the ability to focus and persevere in a disciplined manner towards a field of interest. This also shows the kind of values you may have imbibed by pursuing these particular activities, and therefore you become a more well-rounded person, at least according to admissions committees. Now, for instance, there was a student of ours who talked about their experience with their Bharatnatyam and Arangetram in their Common App essay while they were applying to a biotechnology major. But the essay focused on the discipline, rigor and focus required to perform in that demanding setting and how it enhanced the candidate as a person. This is how extracurricular activities make you a well-rounded person, and you have to try and convey that through your applications. So number 4, extracurricular activities talks about the kind of personality you are, and universities care about that a lot. Number 5, very, very quickly, is your diversity. Now, US universities are a boiling pot of diverse cultures. You're going to get people from almost 20, 30, 40 different countries, if not more. Universities want to know how quickly you will adjust with these candidates, how will you empathize with them, and how will you seamlessly integrate with them. Therefore, you have to show through maybe volunteering activities or any other activities where you put yourself outside your comfort zone and interact with people who come from very different cultural, ethnic, and economic backgrounds, and how you've seamlessly assimilated with them and empathized with them and enhanced their entire experience, whichever activity you are doing. doing. Volunteering is often the word thrown around because it seems to be the easiest way you can do this. But there are several other interesting ways you can show diversity apart from volunteering. To find out how, you can always schedule an interaction with us and we'd love to explain. Alright, so that brings us to the conclusion of this video where I talked about the 5 most important factors in the minds of admissions committees while they're making a decision whether to accept you into college or not. Now, the way you build your profile is keeping the admissions committee's thoughts in mind and therefore ticking these 5 boxes one by one over time. This cannot be done overnight. It has to be done with adequate preparation and it can be done very well with the right guidance. Gradvine is here to help you out always. I hope this was useful. If it was, please do like, share and subscribe and stay tuned for more such wonderful content.